Hey everybody, welcome to the first episode of the Tim and Mike Show. Now, I'm Tim,
And I'm Mike.
and this is a show where we get together and we talk about what movies we're watching, what we suggest you guys to watch, and anything kind of cool and new that's happening in the movie industry. With kind of a strong emphasis on comic book stuff, but you'll get that later. So what's up, man? How's it going?
Good.
Good?
Yeah.
Yeah?
How are you
Anything? I'm doing awesome.
Well, that's always good.
Like you're fired up.
Having some coffees.
Yeah, at 9 o'clock at night, as you do. We're both teetering on 40 too, so this is gonna keep us up all night. Yeah.
Well, I'm probably gonna watch some stuff anyway. I've been busy as hell all day, so
Yeah, you're going on vacation, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Where you heading?
I don't know. Near Austin. I don't know.
You
the
just
place.
going camping or what?
Yeah, we're going.
Oh, okay.
It's near what's that campsite up there? Bastrop? Is that near?
Well, Bastrop's a town, and there's camp. Yeah.
I'm thinking Brazos Bend, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Brazos Bend.
Right
Yeah,
up there.
that's about right. Well, if you're going near Austin, man, there could be anything. There could be Inks Lake. There could be Brazos Bend. There's tons. Like that's a big camping area.
Oh well, it's somewhere up there.
Right. Well, that's awesome. So just you and Mike, or what?
Yep.
Cool. That'd be fun, man.
Father-son bonding.
That sounds awesome, dude. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Well, so you'll be should be gone until Sunday, I'm guessing.
Coming back Friday.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. All right. And right on. Well, what have you been watching, man?
What have I been watching?
What
I've
you
been
watched this week?
watching Carbon. What's it called? Carbon Copy. I don't know. It's got the guy from RoboCop in it.
Altered Carbon.
Altered Carbon. Yeah, I
Right.
finished the both seasons of that. And so it started season one with the dude who played the new remake of RoboCop, and
Yeah.
he was Rick Flag, and the Suicide Squad movies.
Yeah.
What's his name?
What is his name? Let me look it up. Let me go to
Yeah.
IMDb.
And in the second season, it's got Anthony Mackie in it.
Yeah, it's got Sam Wilson himself.
You know, a lot of comic book, actors in that as well. So
Well, yeah. I mean,
I'm
I
not
guess
saying-
that's the modern action star, right? So, like, yeah, if
Yeah.
you're a modern action star, you're going to be probably in a comic book movie. or
I mean,
something.
that makes sense that they're going to be in a lot of movies.
Right.
He-
Because they're
he's
good.
really good. I prefer actually season one to season two. I suppose if I had to pick one.
This is-
Although I do like what Anthony Mackie did. It's not Anthony Mackie. It's just. Did you figure out the guy's name?
No, I'm still looking for it. But go ahead. Internet's so hard.
Season one was just a little bit better written, maybe.
Well, I feel like that's why I couldn't get into it. I feel like I don't know. Maybe, and I think when the first season came out, I wasn't really in this. Because I mean, you know me, I'm a super sci-fi guy. I love crazy sci-fi. Like I'll watch Blade Runner more than once. And I just maybe wasn't in the mood, and so I just kind of skipped it and I didn't watch it. And then I see season two's got a totally different lead, and to me, granted, like they explained it in the show, I'm sure, but
Right.
to
they
me, it
switched
seems like it's just recasting.
sleeves. So like body is a sleeve, right? So you're switching, you're taking your stack out, which is basically a digital copy of yourself, like the real part of you, that your soul, and then they can stick it in any sleeve they want.
That's kind of cool.
Oh yeah, I mean the show's great. I mean it's a great show. I'm guessing they're doing a season 3.
Are they?
But that's what I'm currently say that I would like. The first thing that pops up in my head. I'm always watching movies in between, so I was also watching
Sure.
Black Widow. So I watched Black Widow, half of it last night and half of it today.
I wasn't a
Which
fan.
William Hurt, is in that as well.
Yes, he is. He is.
And one thing I did notice is that he was very skinny in this movie.
And Black Widow?
It didn't it didn't like register with me the first time I watched it. It's very thin, thinner than I've ever seen him in the movie.
Well, I don't know. I don't know if he was sick. I don't know the things that led to his passing. But I mean, honestly, we'll probably talk about that a little bit.
Right.
But yeah, it's. I remember
Yeah.
Black Widow not being a fan. I felt like it was. I don't know. I felt like it was whatever. Like it was such a whatever movie to me. Like I didn't really like think, oh,
I
it's
feel like they were bringing in just more the character of the sister.
well,
'Cause she
yeah.
made
I
an
mean,
appearance
sure.
in
Hawkeye,
Black Widow.
and she's also in Hawkeye.
And not Black Widow, but Hawkeye.
Yeah, she's in Hawkeye.
Hawkeye.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, I'm not. I don't think like I don't know. Some of the movie just felt it wasn't anything but the movie being flat to me. Flat with these peaks and valleys of overstimulating action scene to man, I'm kind of bored now. To overstimulating action scene. Okay, now there's not a lot of there's one thing that the Russo brothers do when they make a movie is they grab you from that first scene and they take you through that journey into where it's. I mean, I literally can watch Infinity War and Endgame back to back any day of the week and be totally satisfied with my film making.
Do you think that movie was a response to Endgame then possibly? The fans' response to Endgame and losing
Black Widow? No. I think
because you're right. The movie did seem rushed, almost like not like
sure, but that movie was and like a lot of the post production was rushed because of COVID and all these things. But I think she was promised again contractually. She was promised a like her own movie, which it's a great character. You could absolutely done that.
She's good.
But yeah, and like the character of Black Widow is so awesome. I just felt like they could have gone in different directions for that. I don't know, but
so is that a real thing in the comic book?
What's that?
The Black Widow squad. And
oh yeah. But it's much more. It's much more Russian, man. Like it's much more. Like she like in the comic book, for all intents, what you can read on a page, she has an accent.
She's KGB, right?
Yeah, former KGB.
Right. Okay. And then
because most of her run in the early days, she's bad. She's not a good guy.
Right. Now I remember there was a cartoon show that I used to watch where she was not good.
Yeah.
I can't remember what that was, but
anyway, it was so good the way they integrated her into Iron Man and like really a cool character and the the Hawkeye relationship. I think the character is really cool the way the MCU did it, but I just feel like that movie alone could have done a little bit different, been a little better.
Huge spider web of movies.
Yeah, like almost
TV shows. I mean, it's crazy where they've came now. Where they're at.
Yeah. Me, I'm watching. What did I just watch? I just watched the first few. Okay, so I just watched the first few episodes of Our Flag Means Death, which I think was awesome, and I can't wait for the next episode. It's on HBO Max.
It's satire thing.
Yeah, it's a pirate satire show. It's directed. I don't know if it's written and directed by Taika Waititi.
Kind of Monty Python-esque.
It's more of What We Do in the Shadows.
Okay.
It's much more of that vein, right? So except for the mockumentary side, where they're actually not doing looking at the camera, but the humor is very similar, and I mean it's Taika Waititi, man. It's so funny. He's so good. I can't wait for the next show. The characters he's developing are really good too. But it's really good. And then I also just watched Dopesick, which was heavy to watch, but very good, and just another reminder, if the world needed one, that Michael Keaton is maybe one of the best actors that we have in our generation. He is so good.
Well, so what is Dopesick? That's a movie?
It's about the Purdue Pharma, the opioid crisis with the OxyContin. And he plays a fictional doctor who is a doctor in a mining town, and these Purdue Pharma reps come in and say, "Hey, well, you can prescribe these for any kind of pain." And that's how they got it going, because they got the all the regulators to allow them to put these low warnings on the labels that they were able to prescribe it for headaches and stuff like that, made like these powerful opioids. And that's how this whole crisis started. And so it's just kind of this fictional story. And obviously there's a lot of real stuff that that's kind of like subplots and stuff, but it's a show. It's 8 episodes, I think. It's on Hulu.
Is he complicit in distributing and then realizing that he is?
No, I'm not. I don't want to I know with some of the movies that we watch, our movie of the weeks, we're probably going to be spoiling stuff. Heads up, folks. There will be spoilers on this.
I mean, I think anytime you're watching a show that talks about movies or TV shows,
right, it should be something that's kind of you're aware of. But I don't want to maybe spoil this one because his story arc is really good. It's really cool.
Okay. So. I do have one question about it, but we'll talk about that off air.
Okay. All right. I guess so.
I just was wondering because I just was going to say, I guess then there's so many ways you could go with that show as far as, storylines concerned or any movies based on, that, like if a doctor had, figured out, that he was distributing something that was, bad for people.
Right, but you gotta know this whole time, Purdue Pharma is essentially lying to everybody, right? They are literally lying to people. So like, there's no real. But I guess the way he finds out certain things is the really cool story arc that I'm talking about. And that's we can talk about it off air, but I really don't want to spoil that one. I want everybody to check it out. It's on Hulu. Michael Keaton, brilliant. And it's good. So I guess we should start. This is our first movie of the week. What did we watch this week, Mike?
We watched Scream.
We did watch Scream.
Scream 33.
Scream. I don't know what they're calling it, but it's either Scream 5, Scream 2022, or just Scream. But we watched Scream.
Right? What's the original called? Scream?
Scream. Yeah.
Throwback to the original.
Right.
With majority of characters present.
I feel but I don't think there's been a Scream movie where they haven't been present.
I guess not. Well, I guess not. I guess
really isn't.
I guess not because Nev Campbell's been in every one of them, hasn't she?
And so is Courtney Cox, and so is David Arquette.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, spoilers, of course. Skeet Ulrich wasn't.
Yeah, but was that digital? Do you think?
Oh no! Well, they de-aged him for sure. I mean, yeah.
That was him.
Yeah, it was him. He just de-aged him. I mean, it's just the de-aging technology they have now. But so what'd you think of the movie, man? Just kind of give us your honest thought and how you felt with the movie.
There were some cheesy aspects to it, the flashbacks and things like that. Him kind of helping her, guiding her.
It was a big problem for me in the movie.
Somewhat, I did not like that. I liked the 2022 digital effects, the blood, seeing that to today's standards as far as horror, what the gore, what it's supposed to look like. I liked that about it. The story was okay, made sense. I mean, obviously, I kind of, and the guy from The Boys is in it, so.
Yeah, I kept watching the whole movie like, what is he in? What is he? But yeah.
He's the guy.
Yeah, he's the dude.
I mean, it was okay. I'd say it was okay as far as I still got to give it to the original.
Right. No, and I think what we're gonna do is I think we're gonna do a little rating at the end of this, and I think that's how we're gonna handle most movies of the week with some sort of quiz, trivia, or rating. Or not rating necessarily rating, but maybe rating. But so I guess I'll give a little synopsis of the movie and kind of go from there. And so it starts off the obligatory scream scene, which I feel like they were going for a bunch of nostalgia, but every single Scream movie starts this way, right? And I guess that's it, right? So it's nostalgia and
do they? They do. I guess.
They do.
They do
They
in a
do.
way. Yeah, they do.
Because of how classic the Drew Barrymore scene was. I mean, you could ask anybody about Scream, and they'll probably tell you about the Drew Barrymore scene. You know,
Yeah.
and so it starts out with the girl in 2022 answering a landline in her house, which I
Right.
guess. All right, so we're not gonna have that conversation. But
Yeah,
so
you
she,
even think about that.
yeah, like why is there landline?
Well, I'd
Like,
say it's very, very house to house on that one. You
yeah,
know,
yeah, no, it is. It is absolutely. I know a lot of. So when I used to install them, it was a lot of fax machines, but it didn't have ringers set up to it. You know.
right. No, I
Right.
doubt very, I'd say it was probably more often than not, you would not have a landline. I'd say
Yes, exactly.
you went
And
somewhere else.
and I want to remember, if I remember correctly, I think 2014 or 2011's Scream. Was there a landline in the first scene, or was it a
I
cell
haven't
phone?
seen those in so long.
Yeah, I know. I meant to watch them before we sat down to do this, but time. So, anyways, let's get back to it. So the obligatory scene where teenage girl at home alone, not making popcorn, or was she? She's now. One thing I liked about this scene is that she was talking because she did something I feel like not many of the other uh, characters in this situation have done. She actually talked about. She actually played the game. You
Right.
know,
You beat
like
him.
what's your favorite scary movie? And so she's been like really good ones like The Witch and Babadook and all that
It
stuff.
follows.
Yeah, yeah, these modern kind of
Yeah, modern horrors.
modern horror, which are
Right.
really awesome movies. If you
And
have
he's
not seen
going,
them, they're
yeah,
really
he's going
good.
more Halloween-esque,
Yeah, he wants slasher,
slasher,
right? He wants slasher
film.
film.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
I'm a fan of myself, so
sure. I mean, I've always been more of the psychological horror, like the real get in your head. Like,
all right. They're all great.
I dare. Yeah, they are all great. We all have fun watching them anyway. So, but yeah, so then she asks the question, and eventually turns into her murder. You think? Now, I think this might be one that survives too, because she survived, and
She
she's
did.
actually a main character,
Right.
which I don't think for most of the first scenes this has ever been a thing.
No, I don't think so.
So, anyways, but she
Something else.
survives, and it flashes to her estranged sister. And then the movie plays out and all this stuff. And we brought up Ski Aldrich a minute ago, and kind of want to jump to this point because I felt like this is a major mishandling of what could have been a cool situation. And
And
because
her.
his character, it could have been more of a haunting, right? You see him as a haunting, you don't know, because like in the first line of dialogue, almost, you know that he's her father. Right? They reveal that secret really early, right? They give that information to you like right away.
Right.
I feel like they could have held on to that information a bit and made him more of a, well, why is she in her head type thing,
Yeah.
and not necessarily giving you that. And it could have added another little kind of dynamic to the movie.
Right. See, I didn't like the being in the head thing anyway. I think it's just kind of cheesy, for that because it's a slasher. So why make it why go supernatural with it? Because that's never been the case. And that's more or less what that to me was, like these visions she was having. I don't know. Now, do you think they were going with like a spinoff, like a newer generation now, a new Nev Campbell?
Well, and
Does
then
live at the end now.
yeah, but they explained it. That's what they were doing. It was a requel, right? So it's the redo. It's the remake. That's a sequel.
Right.
So that's a whole. I mean that's one thing that's always been kind of cool with the Scream series. And as a whole, I still think the series is awesome.
But do you
I
think
think.
they're going with it? Those
Oh, I
three
don't know. I don't know.
women step down and leave the new survivor to take the helm as Nev Campbell?
I don't know. I don't. I couldn't tell you. I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess the Craven estate would let them do it, right? I mean,
Jeez.
doesn't Wes Craven's estate still own all this stuff? But anyways, yeah. So maybe. but I think if they do, it's cool. I guess I'm not really super interested after the characters that like we grew up with these movies, like they were the
Right.
scary movies when we were in high school.
Yeah, but I think for me at least, I think I kind of lost as much interest as, you know, maybe the second or third one came out. I probably would go three, and then I'm kind of losing interest after three,
Okay.
as far as like I have to go see this.
Right. Yeah.
So for me, I'm not interested to go see that.
Okay. Well, so the movie
Oh,
was,
yeah.
but like I said, bring it back to the ski roller part. I feel like they could have done something cooler than that, something different, because they almost made it too toward the end that her dad being a serial killer gave her some sort of superpower, right? At the end, like, you know what, you ever mess with a girl whose dad's a super killer and just start stabbing the hell out of him? I feel like that was lame. That was super lame. Like,
I think she's crazy. I think
yeah,
that's what
I think so, maybe.
Literally, I'm crazy too.
Mm-hmm.
If dad can do it, so can I.
Okay,
Stabbed
sure.
his face. She stabbed his face a bunch of times, if I can remember right.
Yeah, she said, I mean, she did like she was going ham. So, which brings me to another point about the movie that I thought was kind of interesting, and maybe I just don't, but I felt like this movie's brutality, like this was much more brutal than the last.
Oh, right.
The way that Dewey gets killed is like that was rough, man. So,
well, that's what I'm saying. Like with today's technology and everything, you can really get in there and make it look real. It's great. With a little bit of money, so.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. But yeah, so okay, so what did you think of the movie? So I mean, I thought it was okay. Would I
wouldn't run around recommending it to people?
Sure, right. I'm not going to sit there and seek it out to watch it again.
No.
As a whole, I still like the Scream series because I am a big fan of the original trilogy. I love watching those. Those are
sure, yeah. I would watch the original again. That's a movie that if I ran into a year from now, I would probably watch it just because I have forgotten about it by now. By then, I mean,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Because I watched so much that at that point I'd be like, all right, well, I can give this a try. This is something new to me at this point because I would have forgotten about. That's how the movie is to me.
Yeah,
it's not that memorable as far as like I won't remember the plot probably.
Of the new one, of the current one?
The new one, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the greatest. Like I won't remember how people died, things like that. Versus, I guess that could be said about the other ones too, though.
I mean, if you boil it down, I think they were, at least the original trilogy was so, as far as the modern slasher film, was super important, and I think they're always going to have this special place, and they're always going to be super awesome. I feel like the 2011 one, if I remember correctly, like I said, I'll probably rewatch it this week, just when I have time. And I think the 2011 one, I remember enjoying it. And then this one, I felt like there were a lot of things that were unnecessary, and you really had enough to kind of let it rest on its laurels. You didn't have to add all these kind of crazy plot lines, and the fact that I called the boyfriend mid-movie is like, do better than that, man. Come on, you know what I mean? Right. Like, so, but overall, I mean, it was okay. Like I said, if it's on, I'd watch it again. I'm not gonna seek out. So,
yeah.
What do you got? What do you got it out of 5?
Out of 5, 2.5.
2.5. Okay, I'm gonna give it a 3, 3.5. I'll give it a 3.5, and I'll say it's okay. It still works as a slasher movie. I'm still mad they killed off Dewey, but
Yeah,
all right.
I wonder why they did that. I guess he's saying he's done.
I have a feeling. I don't know if they're gonna make more. I don't know if they're gonna be done.
I don't think they should, to be honest.
I don't think so either. But again, it's a slasher movie. You can go to like 100. So,
yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk about some news. How about that? Things that are happening this happened this week in the old movie business. All right. Okay. Okay. So I like how we decided to start doing this, and I mean, we meant to do our first episode last week, but it's kind of great that we didn't because a lot of things happened this week, man. A lot of cool stuff happened, and I kind of want to take it from the end of the week. And one really not awesome thing else happened, obviously, but we'll correct that later. But I think that we should start with in my opinion, the two coolest things that happened were we got a Kenobi trailer, man.
Yeah.
We finally got a Kenobi trailer. It's like I felt like that show was everything that we wanted as Star Wars fans, and I think that they've done so well, and like man, they do Kenobi really well, and I thought maybe it wasn't gonna happen, and then I finally see like proof of life, and it looks awesome, man.
It looks great.
It looks so cool.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's got Dave Filoni all over that thing, and I love that they've let him run with this stuff because that world he built is so good, and the fact that nowadays you can see things that hey, the Clone Wars are canon, man, and that's awesome. So, and Rebels, obviously. And
is that what he did?
Yeah. So I guess you don't know Dave Filoni. He was, I don't remember where he started, but he worked with Lucas on the prequels, right? And kind of started, but he was like a low level guy, didn't do much, and eventually started kind of writing more and taking over more, and he ended up being one of the main writers and story one of the show builders for Clone Wars, the main one. And then he did Rebels.
Series?
Yeah, and then he did Rebels. So a lot of these characters that you've seen throughout the shows of Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett and all these things are from that EU that he's kind of developed. Cool. He's freaking awesome, man. And it's so good. He's just, because he's built this world and like fleshed it out to where now I'm like, there's no real Star Wars movie in the works right now, and I'm totally cool with that. Keep these shows coming.
Those are great.
Yeah, these long.
Yep. Well, so now who is he looking at? Is he looking at Anakin?
No, he's looking at Luke.
Okay, so he's looking at.
So
he's getting older. He's getting to old Kenobi at this point.
Right. So this is post Order 66.
Right before he gets.
Well, if we remember, this is right after Revenge of the Sith.
Right.
Okay, so what happens at the end of Revenge of the Sith? Anakin goes all burnt marshmallow and then becomes Darth Vader, right. Whereas Senator Organa and Obi-Wan split the twins up after Padme dies.
Right.
Takes them to Tatooine, gives them for Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru. Yeah. Played by the same actors so far from the prequel, which is that's a little touch of continuity. Is so good, man. It's so good. That's cool. So they so he kind of takes them in, and this is Obi-Wan watching him from afar now. So this is trying to protect him. And if you watch, I really suggest watching Rebels. It's another Dave Filoni thing, but it shows old man Obi-Wan and Darth Maul. So during Clone Wars and during Rebels, that last few scenes, Obi-Wan and Darth Maul had built this major rivalry from after Phantom Menace when cut him in half. Darth Maul lives through that.
Yeah.
And then that character, I mean, it turns into one of the best villains Star Wars has got. Like he's really cool, but all through Clone Wars, they have this rivalry that eventually goes into Rebels, and it's ended there. But one of the last.
Who is the guy that is chasing Obi-Wan?
That's the Inquisitor. The Inquisitor is one of it's Darth Vader's Force-sensitive kill squad, right? All these different characters.
And so he's looking to settle the score.
Yes. Well, he's trying to he's trying to finish Order 66. So any Jedi all Jedi are being hunted,
I like when he
not
was
just
talking.
Obi-Wan.
He's like, it's the Jedi code is like an itch.
Yeah, yeah. He has to be good.
Yeah, he must scratch it or something. That was great. It was a great trailer.
Yeah, the trailer's cool.
Very well
I'm
done.
excited for the show. I think the show's gonna be awesome. I
Got
feel like
who's Joel Egerton in it?
he's Uncle Owen.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
right. Okay, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. He's Uncle Owen. So I think it's like the trailer's really cool because at the end, I wish. And so one thing I wish that we didn't know that Hayden Christensen was in it. Like they should have just kept that secret until the trailer released. Because then yeah, you didn't know that.
I didn't see it.
Hayden Christensen's in Kenobi. You
it?
haven't seen him yet. All the casting is, yeah. You saw them on set. But
So they're gonna make him Darth.
yeah.
That's
We're
awesome.
we're gonna have Darth Vader. Probably I don't know. It can't be a fight. They can't see each other. Because very clearly in A New Hope, that's the first time they've met in a long time.
Right.
So you've got to keep that safe, that relationship safe, I think. But you definitely see him because Darth Vader's in charge of the Inquisitor and all those Force sensitives. So he's definitely going to be in it. But it could have made the trailer that much sweeter if we didn't know that Hayden Christensen was in it, and then we heard that one breath from Darth Vader. It's like the last beat of the trailer, and it's just and if you hear that, you're like, oh, freak out.
Yeah,
so, it would have been awesome, but you kind of expected it, and you almost wanted to see him. So
I didn't know he was in it. You must have read somewhere.
Oh yeah, I mean, I probably got an email somewhere, but so it's I think it's set for when is it set for? May 27th, I think. I don't know. Let me double check.
May 25th.
25th, is that what it is? It's 25th, yeah. So you'd think, oh, they're gonna do May the 4th and do a May the 4th release. They didn't do a May the 4th release because May 25th is the anniversary of Sir Alec Guinness playing Obi-Wan Kenobi. So it's kind of a relationship date. But cool. I mean, I think it's gonna be great. I'm excited to it, and I know we'll cover it whenever it comes out.
Yeah, let's grab them before that.
Oh yeah, man, so awesome. But happening this month, at the end of this month, we have a very exciting show, and it should be brutal, and it should be pretty physical. But we got Moon Knight.
Yeah.
Moon Knight's coming, man. And, man, Marvel can't stop. Like they can't stop and they won't stop. And they're taking like super deep dive B and C characters and they're making them so awesome.
Right.
And it's so cool.
So who's Michael Keaton in that trailer? Is he Vulture?
Oh, you're talking about Morbius.
Huh?
You're talking about Morbius.
No.
Moon Knight, no, is not Michael Keaton. Michael Keaton's
Morbius. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm thinking about Morbius.
Which we'll cover that one next. But yeah,
Ethan Hawke's Ethan Hawke's character.
What's his name? Dr. Arthur or something or another. Yeah, he's just a big bad from Moon Knight. So he's like this crazy doctor that he does lab experiments and stuff like that. He's in the comics books. Mark Spector went after him.
Who's the bad guy in that?
There's a couple. No, Ethan Hawke's the big bad in that.
Okay, yes,
he's the big bad.
I'm not familiar with that character at all.
But there's several of the variations. So
he's a badass, that's for sure.
Whoever the power of Khonshu goes to. But what's cool about this trailer is that you actually got the new trailer dropped. You have him speaking English, not I was speaking English, but speaking in an American accent. And every trailer you've seen Oscar Isaac speaking has been in a heavy British accent because he's actually Mark Spector, I think, in that one reflection, which is the first iteration of Moon Knight. That's the one I read as a kid. And he was like ex-CIA, super awesome. And he dies on this this mission he's on in Cairo or somewhere in Egypt, and he dies, and Khonshu brings him back to life with the power of Moon Knight. And so Khonshu is who gives you the power of Moon Knight, and so he's able to transform
like
into this.
Dr. Fate kind of.
Yeah, it's kind of, but like super bad. It's Dr. Fate means Batman kind of thing, like real brutal, real heavy hitting. I just think I have a feeling the tone's going to be really similar to the comic books because of all the things that Marvel has announced in the last few weeks. We officially have the Netflix Marvel stuff is officially going to be on Disney Plus. All of it, even the Punisher.
So all of it, Punisher.
All of it. So if you remember watching, well, it does it because it's Disney.
Well, it makes
remember
sense
how gory the Punisher is.
Well, yeah, but obviously they purchased something to put Daredevil and Kingpin and all these other characters into the Marvel universe.
It's less purchasing, more like reversion. Like they reverted back to their original ownership.
Right. Well, somebody is, yeah, right. But I mean, somebody, obviously they're using those characters, but I love that because I love Daredevil. I think he's great in the movie. I mean, the TV show. I think
Charlie Cox is awesome.
You know what I mean? I think he's perfect Daredevil.
Yeah.
Kingpin as well. What is his name again?
Wilson Fisk or Vincent D'Onofrio?
Yeah, Vincent D'Onofrio is great. He's great in pretty much everything he's in.
Mm-hmm.
So I like him as Wilson Fisk. He's big as hell too. So I mean,
they did a lot of camera tricks to make him look super big and super Kingpin-y for Hawkeye, and I loved it. I thought that was like, yeah, now we got like, because they made his footsteps echo a little bit more, and there's a lot of camera tilt, but he made him look big
because he's huge.
Kingpin's huge. Yeah. But I'm more bringing up the point that these shows are so violent.
Oh, why are they on Disney? Well, I would say the same thing for the night trailer and all the Star Wars stuff that's been coming out. Boba Fett, it's all real violent. It didn't really fit Disney, but I think.
But Boba Fett ended up being a how do you take over a town show, which was good. Don't get me wrong, it's an awesome show.
It was violence and
it was a little violence, but it's still cartoon violence. Like,
oh, you're right. Yeah.
But Daredevil was brutal violence, blood, getting his butt beat all the time.
There's some decent, good adult style movies on Disney, though.
Right, but nothing this violent. So it's leading to believe that they're going to have a separate segment for Marvel, which if they call it Marvel Max, that's awesome because back in the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, the ultra kind of violent, ultra adult comics for Marvel were under the Marvel Max label. So you had to be 18 to buy them.
You don't want to purchase something new.
No, it would just be like how there's sections.
Right.
It would just be a different section. But yeah, so that leads me to believe that they're not going to pull punches with Moon Knight. I think they're going to give it some justice. I'm really excited about it. It's probably one of my favorite characters of all time. So
it looks very violent.
Yes, it does.
And very good.
Because the Moon Knight character is very violent because he's not in control.
Costume looks great.
Yeah.
Costume looks great, man.
Yeah, it does look good. It looks good. Even they did that one shot where they have him jumping and the cape does that sharp moon.
He jumps across the
like, do it.
And
so awesome.
It's like the Disney thing going over the top of the
yeah. Which they're doing that awesome too. Like when they did the Kenobi trailer and the lightsaber does the those are badass.
Yeah. Disney's doing it. I mean, I have no complaints. I mean, I'm a big fan of the Marvel stuff anyway. So one place for it to all be at, I'm good with that. Like just much like HBO and DC stuff, I like that the majority of it's in one spot. Now granted, I've seen most of both of them now, and I go there a lot to see if there's something new, and I'll rewatch a lot still. But I really would wish they would update it with some of the newer stuff. Some of the older, because there's some cartoon stuff that the DC stuff doesn't have on HBO Max that I'd like to see on there, and as well as Marvel's most of the Marvel stuff's on Disney. Some of it's still scattered though.
Few, but what you want, I think what you want is there. Yeah. Did you like so? Just kind of side note before we finish covering the news. Um, did you watch Peacemaker?
Yeah,
Man,
it's great.
James Gunn needs to just handle Disney, or not Disney, excuse me, DC. I feel like you give him control, he's gonna do it. Like that show was, and then I'm not talking about. Yes, it was funny. Yes, it was violent. Yes, it was all these things. But the way John Cena played
Yeah,
that character had so many levels, and you felt for that character so much, and it's just such a really great performance. So I think that, and I think a lot of that was James Gunn's directing, of course. I think a lot of it was John Cena. You know, he wasn't just in a group chat. He's the dumb wrestler, but man, he was
yeah. No, he
so
did
good
it.
in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, he did good. I mean, I don't know if they were trying to get him away from the killing. He was more of a villain and
Well, yeah,
more
yeah,
of a
but
redemption story.
sure. But if you look at James Gunn's stuff, especially with like his Guardian stuff, he's got all this kind of superficial stuff in the front, and but like is just as much substance behind
All
all
right.
that, and I think that's just him. I think it's him being the writer and director that he is.
Yeah, I
So,
like it.
so anyway, I just kind of want to side note that I just feel like he should get everything, and I feel like Peacemaker. I listen to the soundtrack on Spotify too, man. I can't. I'm gonna do the
Okay, yeah,
dance.
I saw that they were offering that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Who
Okay.
podcast?
Huh?
Who's doing the podcast?
Oh, I didn't do the podcast. I listened to the soundtrack.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I
I
didn't do the
think they're doing
podcast.
those afterthoughts, talking after the show kind of thing.
That could be interesting. I don't know. I haven't watched
But I
it.
saw something like that.
All right, let's go for the next bit of news. I think we got the final trailer that just hit, and you kind of brought up a minute ago, which something I want to talk about that trailer, which I'm not a huge fan of this situation, but we have
Morbius.
the Morbius trailer. I love the character. Gigantic Spider-Man fan. That was my bag and board
That is
subscription.
Vulture, man.
Yes,
Okay.
gigantic Spider-Man fan. That was my bag and boarded in the mail subscription through most of my childhood. 3 different Spider-Man books. But I will tell you, I am not a fan of. First of all, 2 big things.
Is he a villain?
Who?
Morbius.
He's an anti-hero.
In the comics, though.
Yes, so he's a vampire. He needs to feed on blood. So he's an anti-hero, really. He's like there's a lot of Morbius and Blade team ups.
So he's killing bad guys for blood.
He eventually does. Now I don't know if that's how the movie's gonna go. Obviously, I haven't seen it, but that's how the comics go. Yes, at first he's targeted. He can't control himself, but once he eventually develops his control, he's going after bad guys, and that's how he's feeding off. So,
But that is all he is a vampire.
yeah, he's just got these supernatural abilities of a vampire. That's what it is. So the story's cool. I mean, I say as a standalone movie, I don't know. We'll see. I think it could be very cool. I think it also could miss. There's a possibility of that, but
Leto's got the fear of God in him after the Joker.
Yeah, I know.
His name. His name after the Joker, in my opinion.
It is not.
Because he was great. He's been in some great stuff. He's done some great roles.
Yeah, but that was a horrible role, and it still pisses me off. His little.
Yeah, but
God, so bad.
He was all for it, man.
Yeah, he was.
On board.
Until he wasn't.
Well, he made it out to be that it wasn't him, his vision completely. But
right.
There was some shit that he was on board with that I'm not on board with. That was his vision, the tattoos and
it's ridiculous.
The gold teeth and oh my God,
it's all very young. But okay, so back to the Morbius thing. I think the character looks great. I think
So we're gonna have an appearance by Spider-Man, you think?
So here's the thing I want to bring up. With Spider-Man No Way Home, you have this unique. You haven't seen it yet, have you?
No, I want to buy it.
But you have this unique opportunity to revamp something. So I wish I could tell you this because my frustration with the Morbius trailer is that we should have a certain Spider-Man. And that should be Sony's Spider-Man.
So you're talking about the guy, what's his name? The middle guy?
Andrew
Second,
Garfield.
Andrew Garfield. Yeah.
You have fans screaming out, and we already know that these two universes are not the same. You gave us that with No Way Home. So if you take this Venom,
Why do you think that?
it's there. You like
No, because Vulture is in.
that's my second problem with it. Hold on one second, let me get to that. But I think it might be a different Vulture. So that's where I kind of that might get him out of it.
Wouldn't they all be the same then?
Not necessarily, not necessarily, because the Spider-Men are different. But it's not saying that they can't be the same. It's like it's like Into the Spider-Verse, right? I mean, I guess you can kind of they can be different, but they also could be the same. Peter Parker can be the same person in a different universe. But
no, and those every one of them were different. Doc Ops, different.
that's true. Okay, well, then it's bad that they did that because they've already made it very clear. They made the point that Venom is not in Tom Holland's universe, the MC universe. That was a very clear point.
Who made that? Oh.
At the end of Venom 2, he gets teleported. He's on the beach. He gets teleported to that hotel room or whatever, or he gets teleported in the hotel room, and he sees Tom Holland. They're saying Peter Parker is Spider-Man at the end of Let There Be Carnage?
I don't know if I remember that.
It's the after credit scene.
Okay.
And then at the last after credit scene, he goes back to his universe, but he leaves a bit of the symbiote behind, which is going to give Tom Holland his Venom, which is not. But
he still has
Tom
to be
Hardy's. Yeah, it doesn't have to be Tom Hardy.
Okay.
Right.
But it's still kind of strange. Why though? For what reason? Because Tom Hardy doesn't want to do.
Well, because Tom Hardy's not in a contract with Marvel Studios. He's in a contract with Sony.
I see.
They're different companies. They only let Marvel borrow Spider-Man.
So they want to use.
So they're trying to build their own universe, and so Morbius is not in Tom Holland's universe
because he mentions Venom.
Well, because it's being made by Sony, not Marvel.
Is Morbius being made by Sony or Marvel?
Yes, Sony.
Sony.
So he's in what they're calling the Venomverse.
So is Sony making their own little thing now?
Well, yeah, they've been working on it forever. They wanted to do a Sinister Six. They had all these Sinister Six plans for Andrew Garfield's, but since the second one got met with such whatever, and then the MCU kind of was killing it.
In the Sinister Six, Venom.
Nope. Well, it changes throughout the years. The original was Scorpion, Vulture. It's not Venom. Craven, Sandman, either Hob or Green Goblin, depending on what generation you're at.
So who do they want to make it?
And somebody else. No, but that was their plans. They were going to do that when Andrew Garfield was under the helm. Now they're kind of introducing this whole universe. So by introducing Venom, introducing Morbius separately, that's what they're doing with this. They're making this whole other Spider-Verse essentially, and they haven't given us a Spider-Man yet. But I think the whole world's screaming out for Andrew Garfield to take the helm again.
He's getting older though. Sure,
but you got to watch No Way Home, man. He was awesome. Like he stole the show. He was really, really good. But yeah, so in my opinion, that's how you do it, right? If I'm a Sony exec and I'm thinking I want to make money off these movies, and I'll let Marvel keep playing with the Tom Holland over there. That's fine. But I'm gonna have Andrew Garfield come and helm this other Spider-Verse because obviously the world and the audience has already said, okay, I'm okay with there being multiple Spider-Man in different movies. I'm cool with that. I can compartmentalize.
You think the average viewer though really would understand?
Look at the box office ratings for No Way Home. Still to this day.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. During a pandemic, or toward the end of a pandemic, I guess toward the end of lockdown, right?
Yeah.
But it's I don't. I think it. I don't know if it exactly beat out Avatar, but it just got that close. What's the highest grossing movie of all time?
Which one's that coming out? 2030?
Well, I don't. Let's see. Let's see. I'm gonna look at the top box office gross.
He's at the bottom of the ocean right now. He's kept filming. James Cameron.
Jim Cameron. Avatar. Okay. Endgame. Titanic. Maybe it had an opening weekend thing. Okay, so it's number 6. Okay, so but still
Pretty good.
still pretty good considering what's happening, right?
Yeah. No, I agree.
So
I mean, it's amazing what they're doing with it.
right, but what they're doing is they're doing the exact opposite of what DC's doing. They're allowing the audience. They're not telling the audience that we think you're dumb.
Right.
We think you can get these complex, which I guess DC's trying now with Flashpoint, which I hope is successful. Like I really do, because Michael Keaton's gonna be Batman again, and that's freaking awesome.
I love
So Michael Keaton, you know Michael Keaton. Have you seen him in the costume yet?
who? The Flash?
Michael Keaton?
In what costume?
You don't know?
Batman?
Yeah. Michael Keaton's Batman in the Flash.
Oh, they're doing Flashpoint and he's gonna be Batman.
He's gonna be out Batman.
Yeah,
Ben Affleck's gonna be in it, and there's gonna be other Batman too. But
are they gonna do Ben Affleck's or not, are they?
they're not. He's stepping down as a character. He's officially said he's done with it. He is not doing any more Batman.
Why is that?
He just creative choices. It was so hard for him to keep up all the physique stuff. The time, like, dude, he lost his family doing that movie. That's when
Justice League
and Dawn of Justice or whatever, stupid Batman vs Superman.
Yeah.
But anyways, so like he's just done with it. The emotional toll and physical toll on him. He's like, I'm too old for it.
Right.
Somebody else can be him.
Yeah.
And then but Michael Keaton has been cast in Batgirl, which is a new movie. He will play Batman again in another full movie. So I'm excited to see that. But as far as Michael Keaton in the Morbius trailer, I don't like how he's super, yeah, you're a good bad. He's like the master of the bad guys now. Like if you remember this character in when it first was the Vulture, he was just doing this for his family, like stumbling into it. He's like most crime bosses, right?
Destruction.
Yeah. Now he's super. Now he's super evil, dude. Yeah. So I know. So he's the Vulture, and
he did hit pretty hard in that crash.
Yeah, I don't think that's
maybe he's fucked up now.
Bleep. But yeah, he I don't know. It could be good. Like I said, I think that's gonna be our first go to the movie, right? Probably. So I'm gonna grain of salt. I'm not gonna have any expectations for it. I know Jared's very excited.
Jared Leto looks good.
Yeah, sure.
And it's it looks good. It doesn't look bad.
Yeah, I mean, I think it'd be fun. But as far as continuity and the story and how they're gonna develop this universe.
All right, for you.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating for me. But kind of some honorable mentions in the news. We got a new Boys trailer, The Boys season 3. Looks.
I'm a big fan of that Boys trailer.
Yeah, I wasn't either. I felt like it was okay.
It's a weird trailer.
It was just.
It looks good. It's gonna be.
That show is so gory.
It is.
like at some point, like watching the first season, like it's pretty good. It's good. And by the end of season 2, you're like, this is just violent. It's like I don't feel good about watching this show.
Yeah, that's definitely the appeal to it. It's very gratuitous.
Yeah,
what drew me to it in the first place. I was like, oh my god! But it's good. I like the modern day take on superheroes. Like, what would a superhero do in today's United States, in today's world? It's today's consumer driven. Just
I think we've seen that a lot now, and I think that whole dynamic of the anti-Superman.
It's very realistic.
Sure, but the anti-Superman, what was it like that Jupiter Rising? Was that what it was called? That show that was on Netflix?
There's a Jupiter Rising movie.
No. Which one is Jupiter Ascending? The one about the kind of the mock Justice League, and the Superman character was a bad guy, and
Jupiter Descending.
Ascending or descending or
Descending. Yeah.
And he's staying exactly where it is. I don't know. Anyways, this
Josh,
whole like
Josh, whatever his name is, the mall.
Yeah, I think that it was just like this whole storyline of the anti-Superman is kind of it's kind of whatever. And now they're doing it seems like an anti-Captain
That's a
America.
very similar take on it too.
Yeah. So I'm saying it's been played, and so but that storyline's been played in comic books for years too. So it's just kind of
Well, what's that one, that cartoon one that's on Amazon?
Invincible.
Yeah, similar concept.
Yeah, same concept.
That's a great show.
Shows, dude. If you ever give yourself
very brutal.
Yes, but if you ever give yourself a shot, like The Walking Dead's cool, a comic book, but get yourself the omnibus or a couple issues of Invincible. That comic is awesome. It's probably his best work. Like Robert Kirkman's best work. Yeah, it's really good. Robert Kirkman. He's the same guy that he wrote the Walking Dead.
Oh right, okay.
So
yeah, no, it's I can see.
It's some of his best work. It's really, really good. And also we got a slight teaser. I mean, ever so slight teaser of Umbrella Academy season 3.
Yeah.
Did you watch it? Yeah.
Well, I got to watch I watched it, but it was nothing. But I need to watch the recaps, or at least start because to tell you the truth, I think I lost interest second season. I was just kind of on autopilot, maybe on my phone. I don't remember a lot of season 2. I do remember they were traveling a lot through time.
Yes, that was the concept of season 2.
And that the sister was blowing up the world at one point, but they stopped it from happening.
Yeah.
And then they all end up back in the office with their dad again. And he's alive.
but it's an alternate universe, and now you have the Sparrows. So you have the Umbrella Academy and the Sparrows, and that season 3 is going to be
they're
flashing. Yeah, I think that's what the hint I got. That's what I got from the trailer. That's what I got.
Right.
So
yeah, I got to catch up on that because I can't remember.
It looks good. I mean, we got a date, so June 22nd when it's coming out. That should be cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a good premise. You know, I mean, it's obviously comic book. I don't know if that's a comic book, real, like our actual comic book or not, but.
It is. Do you know who wrote it?
No.
Gerard Way.
Oh yeah, I saw that in the name.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's really.
Is that Gerard Way? Gerard Way?
Yeah, from My Chemical Romance. Yeah. He's
Oh, okay. What was I? I guess I was thinking about Gerard
Depardieu.
I was thinking about what's his face from Shoot 'Em Up. Not Shoot 'Em Up,
Clive Owen?
No, from 300. What's his name?
Gerard Butler.
Butler.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Yeah, Gerard Way from
My Chemical Romance. Yeah, he that's his
very
book.
good job.
Yeah, it's really cool. So, and then the last bit of news, obviously, we had I don't know what you say about this, but I'd like to on the show as going forward, and I know a lot of shows do it, but pay respects to people that we might have lost, and this one we have a big one, and I've always known I was a big fan of his. And then I start really thinking about the movies so I like to watch movies when somebody passes away. I like to watch maybe my favorite 2-3 movies from there.
What's your favorite?
And yeah, so we lost William Hurt this week, and that's it's tough, man, because super talented guy.
Young too, 71.
71, yeah. Just super talented and really, really. I mean, honestly, he's kind of one of these actors that's always been there.
What's the top movie?
So funny enough, it's The Big Chill. I want to watch a movie that with William Hurt, the first movie I'm probably going to say is let's sit down and watch Big Chill. And
so that's your favorite movie where he is a well-known character, or just that he's in
that I recognize him, that I remember him from, because he plays the drug addict of the group, right? You remember The Big Chill, right?
I don't think I've ever seen it.
Totally worth watching. Brilliant movie. Really great. But it's about a group of friends who went to college together. One of their friends passes or kills himself. funny enough, that friend is Kevin Costner, but Kevin Costner's not in the movie. He's just in a picture. But because it was such a it's like mid-80s, right?
It's a movie, right?
Yeah. So he kills himself, and so they all meet at the funeral, end up spending the weekend together, and kind of reliving their college days and kind of getting close again and being friends. I mean, Tom Berenger's in it, Glenn Close is in it. It's a great movie, and the soundtrack is phenomenal. I mean, really, 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 really great. But William Hurt plays a drug addict, a drug dealer in it. One of their friends who didn't go the route everyone else did, and you kind of deal with his character and man. But if I had to say what's my favorite William Hurt movie, it's probably that. But again, there's been plenty of stuff that has been great, like Mr. Brooks. Remember Mr. Brooks?
I do. I enjoy that.
Great movie.
He's in a few with Kevin Costner.
Yeah, he is.
He's my favorite movie that he's in. That he doesn't have a big part in it, but it's he's the dad in Into the Wild.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And they made him look so frumpy and old too, like in that movie.
Well, that's bringing me back to, watching him in Black Widow, and after hearing that he passed away, his face, was very gaunt in that movie, very thin. And I remember him being, he's getting older. He was a little thicker in previous roles, like in, when he was in The Hulk and things like that. So.
Yeah. I don't remember hearing that he was sick or
prostate cancer apparently.
But and I don't remember him like hearing about it until he was done.
Most of the time, it's just like T'Challa. What's his name? Chadwick Boseman. Yeah. He didn't tell anybody.
Yeah, and there's all that footage that footage that surfaced. The one where
Ben, he was very thin in certain roles. Like,
did you ever see that clip where they're in a big conference, like meeting just for maybe Infinity War or something?
Yeah, and he's falling asleep.
And Benedict Cumberbatch kind of taps his leg, and it's like, wow.
Yeah.
And man,
he's actually in a movie I saw. I think it's called 12 Bridges, where he's playing.
Yeah.
I don't know, but he's very thin in this movie. Yeah, there's another one where he's like a detective and he's wearing a suit. And he goes from, this was his last movie, I believe, that he was in, this movie.
Well, the last movie he was in was what was that Netflix movie?
Yeah, that one. He's wearing that
where he plays a trumpet player.
Is he a trumpet player?
He's a trumpet player. It's in the 30s.
What's the premise of that?
He plays the young and upcoming trumpet player for. Let me look up the movie title. I totally forgot what it was. Because it'll tell me everything I need to know. Final movie.
Well, anyway, this movie.
Oh yeah. So Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. So he plays the young trumpet player coming in for this jazz group. No, in the 30s.
It would have been like it's one of the last movies he was in. But anyway, he's very skinny. And I remember thinking, because he had already passed away, I remember thinking, like, oh man, yeah, because going from Black Panther to the way he looked like in this movie, which was recent, pretty quick, close, following it. It was strange that he had lost that much weight.
Yeah.
When considering he wasn't like a big guy in Black Panther, he just looked like an in shape guy. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Versus like Thor, who is obviously packed on way more muscle than his body is supposed to have on it naturally, right? Yeah. So I'd say like that's the good thing about the Spider-Man roles, the Flash roles. These guys aren't trying to get bold. Like, technically Jason Momoa didn't really need to get bold for Aquaman. He's just a big guy in general anyway. But how did you like that end of the Peacemaker when Jason Momoa and
Flash, yeah. I'm like right on Peacemaker. You're right, dude.
I think if you go with that route with the DC stuff and just more like have fun, stay truer to the message. The storylines are written, they're working for Marvel. I don't understand where the problem is. Like, just make a story that goes with what was written already.
Well, Warner Brothers won't let it happen. It's nothing DC's doing. Warner Brothers has been very clear in their statements that they don't want comic book people writing comic book. Like, they don't want that.
That's so weird.
They don't want it. So they are trying to catch the dollar as soon as it can get it, rather than Marvel didn't have this. But Marvel didn't have this problem. Obviously, Iron Man was successful, but it seemed like Marvel was willing to put in the work to get the payoff.
Right. Well, I mean, that's the idea anyway. The payoff.
Right. But it is the old adage that comic books are not real medium, and they're funny books for kids. Yeah, that is what it is.
The thing about those comics, as I always said this too, is there's years and years of character development that you don't have to touch really, because your main viewing base knows the stories.
Yes.
So now you can show them a picture without having to touch all that, and that's already in it already. You know what I mean?
And that's exactly what Marvel did.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm before 2005 or whatever, Iron Man was not a big character for Marvel. In the comic books, his book was dying. He was not a famous, like, popular character. In fact, Marvel as a business was about to go belly up.
Right.
But the movie, Robert Downey Jr., Jon Favreau, and you have Magic. But just get back to William Hurt real quick, just to say, kind of stay on point with that. What are your top 3 movies from William Hurt, you think?
As I say, Into the Wild.
Sure.
We'll go. Mr. Brooks is good.
Okay.
He doesn't have a big part in that, though. I don't really know.
He plays the. Yeah, he plays the
like the subconscious.
Yeah, I think yes, it's a cool. That's a cool character.
I don't know if
he's go kill him, Mr. Brooks, and he's that character.
He's like the good angel almost, because I think that desire is already in him. He's like, okay, you need to watch what the hell you're doing. You need to make sure that you clean your prints. Hey, you're getting sloppy, man. You're not doing
keeping the kill alive. Sure.
Right. So that desire is there. He's more like that. He's the conscience almost.
I guess you're right.
He's on board. He's on board with that life, but he's definitely that conscience and not getting caught. That's cool. That movie's cool. Yeah, I like it.
It's a very good movie. It's a very, very good movie. All right, what do you got? You got
maybe he's in the Hulk. He's okay in that. He doesn't have a big part in that either.
Well, he's Thunderbolt. Honestly, for the MCU, he's and
he plays different roles.
His loss is huge, but his loss is huge for the MCU.
He plays different roles, right?
No, he's Thunderbolt Ross. He's always Thunderbolt Ross is an important character in the MCU because everyone started moving in with the red. He's the Red Hulk. He's the leader of the Thunderbolts.
Red Hulk.
Oh yeah, he's all these cool things. So it's gonna be a big miss.
Makes sense that he would be Red Hulk.
Yeah. So he's all that's a huge loss. I mean, honestly, you don't want to boil somebody's life down to, oh, you're not gonna be in the movies I like. I mean, but it's a huge loss for the MCU too. So, but
I'd have to look and see what he's in.
Okay, well, let's see what else. I think that's all for the news we got, though. Let's see what else we got today. I think that's it, man. All right, Mike, we're going to close it out for the night for our very first episode. Let's talk about what movie we want to watch next week. What are you thinking?
Thinking No Way Home.
Spider-Man No Way Home.
That's it. I haven't seen it.
Let's do it. Our very first 3-hour episode, I guess.
Yeah. No, I mean, there's lots because it definitely segues into all the different worlds.
Right. It's a big movie. It's a big conversation about Marvel and where they're going. It'll honestly, the conversation should encompass the shows that we've seen already and everything like that. So I'm in. Let's do it. Next week we'll do it. what we like to do on the show, on the Tim and Mike show, is we'll read you kind of a back of the box description of the movie we're watching. Not that this one needs that, but Spider-Man: No Way Home. With Spider-Man's identity now revealed, our friendly neighborhood's web slinger is unmasked and no longer able to separate his normal life as Peter Parker from the high stakes of being a superhero. When Peter asks for help from Doctor Strange, the stakes become even more dangerous, forcing him to discover what it truly means to be Spider-Man. All right, guys, that's what we're doing next week. Please like, please follow, please subscribe, and all your podcast type places that you subscribe things, and your YouTubes. Comment, join the conversation. Right now, this is our first episode, so social medias will be up in the next few weeks, and we will love to talk about movies with you. And all the movies that we recommended and all the movies that we talked about will be listed in the description down below, as well in the video. So please enjoy watching yourself some movies this week. And that's us for Tim and Mike. All right, later.
Take it easy.